And we are back, episode 44 of the Real Life Podcast. Our first in-person episode of the year. We've got a very special guest on. We've got the owner and coach of Functional Fitness and co-founder of Soul Suites, Mr. Kris McSherry. Welcome, mate. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having us on. Looking forward to it.
I know it'll be a good wee conversation, especially since the stuff that you've done recently, which a lot of people will be very interested in. I'm very interested to understand the story that got you to, obviously, the 3 podiums in one day in Switzerland. And because Hyrox is such a big thing at the moment, I think a lot of people take a lot away from this. But as we were talking about before we came in here, you're a lot more than just Hyrox. Do you know what I mean? This has only been the past, 18 months to 2 years that you've been running Hyrox and that stuff. So before we get started, mate, tell us a wee bit more about you. Obviously, a lot of people that will be listening to this will obviously already know you and know your gym and all that stuff, but give them a wee bit more insight to yourself outside of training and your background as such, mate.
So yeah, I suppose I've had a few of these podcasts and I'll try and keep the intro a wee bit different. So if anyone's giving me a wee bit of support by listening in, isn't being bored of the same story about me and who I am or how we got to where we are today, which is just another guy going to work every day and that's how I feel. I'm just your ordinary person working in the fitness industry. So for me, I've worked as a coach, I think for 13 years it might be now. So started up taking MetaFit classes in church halls. I think I was 17 at the time. Make no money. My partner at the time's mum was paying the rent for the hall for us, keeping us going, even though I had nobody turning up. That led me into, I was doing my HNC and HND at the time, so I got my level 2 qualification, managed to land myself a job at a box gym in East Kilbride. Kind of managed that facility, got my PT qualification, then started to build my own business up, which was very fucking poor. Calling it Kris McSherry personal trainer. Could have maybe come up with something a bit better, but at the time that was good enough. Worked up, built some clients up, started some group training in 2017. Things started to move and eventually got to the position where we kind of had to open the gym, and that was back in 2019. And yeah, so the gym has been 6 years coming up for this summer. Obviously the way the business kind of has evolved has been really so transformative for me in my life, and allowed me to do the things that I want to do and to run the business the way I want to run it. Just kind of started, I was probably just a glorified personal trainer still when the gym opened. I was still running myself into the ground coaching, and wasn't really managing a business, and the gym was a bit of a shambles, to be fair. It was just a space that I kind of created so that I could work out of. And that wasn't really helping us develop the business much. COVID hit, forced us into some massive changes within the business, just in terms of like booking systems and monitoring our clients a bit more, and got us to a position where we wanted to open up a second space. I had some business coaching that was going to help us get there from the boys down at the PFCA. Worked with Ollie March on it first, just on his own. And Jen's teamed up and started the PFCA, which might be common for folk maybe listening to the podcast that will know about that. And that kind of guided me to getting staff and creating a team and really building a business. And then leading into opening Soul Suites up. That's just been open 2 years now and going through some big changes in there. Myself alongside 2 friends opened that up now. There's 4 of us in there together. And on top of that, I'm most importantly now a father, which is my main job. Father, partner, and a role model to my 2 stepkids. So that's nice. That's the best kind of feeling to get to talk about that. That's who I am. Makes me well up when I say that. But that's my most important job. Just like come back for work this morning, seeing the wee man shouting your name, and I'm like just running about copying me, or he sees me do stuff in the gym, he sees me doing wall balls, he comes in and tries to do wall balls. Like, that's the fulfillment that gives me is unbelievable. So that's kind of partly of who I am. But I suppose getting into who you are is completely different. Obviously that's my roles, my responsibilities and my purpose. But for me, I was just your ordinary guy from the west of Scotland. Like, football is your popularity, and how cool you are is built off how good you are at football. So I was mediocre. My pals would say I was terrible. I would say I was mediocre, and maybe got just better than mediocre as I got older and actually a bit fitter. But played football, and that's all I cared about. Is my granddad, before he passed, was a big role model to me, and that I wanted to be good at football and try and impress him. And that was my life, was playing football, training 4 or 5 nights a week, playing 2 games at the weekend, And that's obviously like most days in the west of Scotland filters into being 16, 17-year-old. Football starts to take a back seat. And you buy a bottle of Buckfast and 10 Marlborough for a tenner, and the rest was history.
And you still get change for a fiver, fuck's sake. You know what I mean?
I know.
Madness, mate.
So,
Madness.
and then that just led into me even going through college, even though I was in this job of, if I'm rambling on, just stop me and go into another question.
Go for it, man. I like
it. Kind of builds the story up. But I suppose like I was in this job of health and fitness, and I was also studying it, thinking like, right, I need to be a good role model. But I think I hit 19 and I don't know what happened, but I just went off the rails. Between 19 and 24, my life was chaotic, man. And at this point, I'm amazed at how much I'd managed to build a business and a good reputation up. And I think obviously because I was and still am hopefully good at what I was doing, and I try and be a good person, which is one thing I'll try and do every day, is to be a good person, to give myself to others, to be selfless. But I mean, between 19 and 24, I was going ballistic every single weekend. And it was like, I remember lockdown hit, and this is just an example, like lockdown hits, everyone's like, it's a big health warning, a big scare. I'm at my pals, like, one up to mine, me and the staff, like, just came up to mine and got a few bottles of wine in, stuck the tunes on, and we're on it all night. And that was like, my life was like that for 5 years, as if like there was never going to be another weekend out. The pub was never going to be opened again, and I suppose it was good fun. Played football at the weekends, played amateur football, would finish football at 12, was probably out the night before, and then be in the pub for 1, and then that was me, and then I'd probably go back out a Sunday for a Kieran, and that was it, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, for honestly 5 years of my life. So part of me thinks I threw that stage of my life away a wee bit, like I could have advanced myself much quicker, but I suppose created strong friendships, made some mistakes, and now because I've kind of lived that sort of life, I'm now more settled. Don't get me wrong, I'm a human, still like a night out every so often. It's my 30th other week, so I enjoyed that. But for the most part, it's like my priorities lie elsewhere, and I've had that time to party.
Yeah.
And I gave it a right good crack. So I did. I gave it a right good go. But those kind of days are numbered probably now, and even to that point, you just feel like you've got no identity, because I should have been the guy that's trying to showcase a better lifestyle. And I was showcasing the complete opposite of how if you could potentially ruin your life the way I was going. So a complete imposter. And that ate away at me and ate away at me. And it probably hasn't been until that I changed how I operate and how I run my life and how I think, act and feel, that the gym's actually evolved a wee bit and the members have started to evolve and the businesses get better. Not to say it's a direct correlation of people like, oh, that guy's fit and healthy and tries to look after himself, like, we'll go to that gym. But it's obviously just like, I wouldn't say manifestation, but it's just like you attract what you're putting out there, and we're now the business is starting to get better and better and better. So that probably goes hand in hand, but I'm a bit more switched on now than I was back then. But
I think as well, like, so you said there around a bit, like, it's not necessarily a direct correlation to like the business growing and the gym growing and your members growing, that stuff. I think it would be, but because like if you've went through that phase like between 19 and 24, right, where the weekends were what they were, you're just getting on it and that kind of stuff, right, but then you've went, nah, I'm putting a stop to this, and probably a part of you putting a stop to it, the imposter syndrome would have had a part to play in that, because I can relate to that. Like even when I started coaching, man, a good few years ago now, I was still getting up to stuff I shouldn't be doing at the weekends and that kind of stuff. And if I wasn't in the position I was in as a coach, I'd probably still be doing that. Because it forces you to go, hold on a minute, I'm meant to
make a change.
I need to make a change. I'm meant to be this leader. I'm meant to be this guy that's doing the do for my clients and that stuff. So you've looked at your clients, your business, and obviously functional as a whole, and went, right, I need to do that for them. I remember seeing that in a post you put up. Obviously, when you got your podiums and that kind of stuff, it all came down to, not all came down to, but a lot of it was, I'm doing it for my guys. So there'll be they'll not relate to it. They'll bounce off you for that, because they'll do what they do in your gym for you because they've seen what you've done. So I think there would be a direct correlation to the transformation in functional over the years in your business and your training. It would all come together from your journey from, as you say, getting on it and all that kind of stuff to being more switched on. And even what you were saying around about like you've learnt lessons off it, it's grown you. See, if you didn't go through that phase, this is just for my personal like opinion on myself as well, and I don't know if you relate to this as well, mate. If I didn't go through what I went through, I wouldn't be the guy I am today. So I've got no regrets for back then. Yeah, I would change some shit. Of course I would. Everyone would. Do you know what I mean? But I'd probably not be in the position I was without the mistakes that I made, because you don't have the lessons. I don't know if you can relate
I
to that.
suppose it is. Life's just a path you're on, and I suppose the decisions you make today and tomorrow will dictate where you end up. So whether it was positive, negative, like a mistake, a regret, or whatever, like gets you to where you are today, and you can learn from what you've done. So I think it probably has. Maybe it has had a good impact those years on me that I done it then rather than now.
Sometimes as well, it's like, I know it's not necessarily the best thing to do, but some of the memories I've got for back in the day, I've just been a bit of a dick.
No,
Some of the things are hilarious, man.
I think most people can relate to that 19 to 24, because as soon as you said the numbers, it hit me like that's exactly my age where I just made a cunt of it all the time. And like you say, I think when you get to the latter end of that, you start to change. And you look back and you go, I could have done better there. But like you said, you've got all these memories, you've got all these lessons. Like how many mistakes have we made on the bevy, man, and went, never again, never again. But you eventually do learn from it. But a lot of people are still, some people have that 19 to 24 phase, and some people have that 19 to 44 phase, and they just don't let it go. So I think even getting to a point where you spent 5 years making a cunt of it, because I know I did, even getting out the back end of that, I think is a massively positive thing, man, because it's no easy.
No.
Like it's the place where Scotland as a whole, west of Scotland, whatever you want to call it, man, it's a place where it's just, that's the norm. Yeah. And to slip away from the norm is hard, man. Like it really is hard. It's difficult.
I think I was saying this to Kieran the way in. Like a lot of people when they'll talk about like all the drink and all the partying, like it's almost like you're trying to fill a void. But for me, I didn't feel like I was. It was just like, this is class. Like I had responsibilities with work, but for some reason that was what didn't feel like a responsibility by the time the weekend came. But I had no other major responsibilities. Then you've got that disposable income if you actually have a full-time job. As I now did, working for myself, like it had disposable income, so it was like there was no barrier for me. And then I'm like, I don't think there was a part of me missing. I did go to counsel and try and figure all this out at one point, and be like, is there a part of me missing that's doing this? But I think maybe like the thing that I found out was I was just purpose I was missing. And for me, that's now switched. Like my partner who I'm with now, Katie, we've been together 4 years, and she probably really helped me find my purpose within my own health and fitness. And then like it's not like I woke up one day and had an epiphany. It's like I'm never getting mad with it again. Like I've been out loads of times, like over the last 4 years when we've been together, but like it's just something changed and understood that like in fact my training could really give me good purpose and like something to get up for each day and something to look forward to at the weekend. Like this Sunday, for example, like I knew I had a big session to do, and I was like, oh, this is brilliant, man. Whereas like I was excited to do that on the Sunday, and Katie was going to train yesterday as well, and that sort of Saturday night was involved around like eating around that and both getting our time to go to the gym together or do a thing yesterday. And that's just a change in sort of purpose, and I think that's what's maybe missing for me. It wasn't necessarily like I was depressed or sad and I was turning to other things. It was just like I was a bit of a fart in the wind, probably.
Just going with the flow.
Whereas now I've got something to do.
I get it. Do you think there was like, you might say you don't really remember that stuff, man, but do you think there was like a specific moment where you went, right, okay, I can feel my purpose changing, where you would take training a lot more seriously? Because as you've obviously mentioned, like you were in the fitness industry anyway, do you know what I mean? And you had been for like 13 years. So what was like the defining? I know, mate, I know. That's it, man.
13 years.
Experienced, I would call that.
Seasoned.
That's it. What were you doing for the first 10 years? No, I'm only joking, man. But that being said, when do you think was the actual moment that you went, right, okay, I'm going to actually start taking this thing a bit more seriously? And when did you start to feel that purpose through, like training, functional, and that kind of stuff? Do you think it was like maybe when you got the gym or when you started bringing in people?
I think so. I worked closely with Ollie Marchant. Pure name dropping them there. I've stayed in close enough contact with him since, and she started working with me on a one-to-one basis and kind of pushed me towards opening the small group model. So I was just totally inspired by him at the point. I would not be coached off anyone who doesn't inspire me. So same goes for now. Graham Halliday's coaches me through my programming, and I think I'm inspired by him. That's why I get my coach me. And it was the same with Ollie. So I was like just pulling workouts off his Instagram and just doing them. Like no question about it. Imagine I could be like him, man, that'd be class. So I started pulling what I thought then was some mad workouts, and I was just getting a total buzz off it. I was like, this just feels amazing, man. But nothing majorly clicked. Like I'd ran a marathon for charity. I'd done one 18 months later. I'd done one a year later again. So I'd had 3 marathons in me. Still wasn't proper clicking yet. I don't know what it was. It's only like properly the training has all clicked and made sense to me the last 12 months.
Interesting that Jink, the wee one's got something that Blake's got something to do with that.
Maybe because my time's so limited that I need to make it count, so I don't really waste any time I've got in the gym anymore. Whereas previously I probably did, and then I'll just put it off. But I think maybe because my time is so limited now that I don't like waste the opportunity to train.
Because even, sorry to jump in there, but even like from me watching you, like we've done a couple of runs ago and that stuff for Bar Age Wax. Remember I was doing that 10k challenge, and I was like, why do one of these 10ks with us? And you were like, the only time I can do it's 4:30 in the morning. And I was like, sound.
It was good though,
but mate, I remember it, you came out the car and I'm like, you're right, and you're like, fuck to the flu, mate. And I'm like, mate, you should have just texted. He's like, nah, I said I'm going to do it, so I'm doing it.
And like, a habit of doing that.
But there's only certain people that will do that. And like people, obviously, will get into it, obviously, with like the podiums and that kind of stuff through Hyrox. People will see that and they go, I want that. And I'm like, right, you're going to get out your bed at 4 in the morning to run in the winter.
Right,
and I'm not saying you have to do that, but if you say you're going to do something, majority of the time you fucking do it.
I mean, it is hard, like time-wise, but I'm no different to anybody else. Like, with time constraints.
Yeah, because you still take classes and functional.
There's 3 kids at home. I've got a job. That's what I call it. Like, I've got a job, run a business, whatever you want to call it. I've got a job. There's 3 kids in the house, 2 dogs in the house to get walked. Katie's just changed jobs and just finalising all her coursework now, and she's qualifying and she'll be coaching. Like, it's just a normal, busy family household. I'm not particularly any busier than anyone else. Ask any youngish parent with 3 children in the house, they'll be busy at all. So it's just like me trying to find the time to make it work. And most often than not, when I'm training, like this morning, I trained after I'd helped out for another coaching this morning, and I'm just like, I can see us far enough. I'm so tired. The wee man was rolling about through the night. Katie got with him, changed him, gave him a fresh bottle and that. He sounds like he's a wee baby still, but it's just a wee gannet. And just get such a broken sleep. Alarm goes at back at 5, and I'm just like, oh my God. But again, it's like, if I didn't do that, then I've got no other time to do that session today. So it's like, do it or don't.
It's not an option. Like that's what I'll say to quite a lot of my guys, and they'll like say, I'm agreeing with us a bit, and I'm like, that's not a fucking option, man. Do you know what I mean? Like, this needs to get done when you said you're going to do it, because you're not going to.
It's like a learned behaviour as well. Like, if you hear that one about like quitting becomes a learned behaviour, so that's something that's important to me. Like, whatever I say I'm going to do, even in a session like the other day, I just went, I'm going to finish with 100 wall balls with 9 kilo. I've not done it. I actually started in my head, like, I've not done like a big set at the end of a workout with the 9 kilo, and I'm doing my first pro solo in Glasgow. So I was like, just do 40 reps. And I was doing an hour on the treadmill, and I was like, right, in fact, we'll do 60. And I just went, just do the 100.
Just do the 100.
And then it was getting close. I thought, oh my God. And I was like, well, I don't know if it's like, my mates will joke, say I've like no wired up, not ADHD and whatever else. That's the buzzword now. But there's definitely some parts not screwed in as it should be. But if something gets in my head, it needs to happen, or my day is ruined. When I was young, my cousin would say to me, she would tell me she was taking me to the 10 catch show, then she would cancel. Now I realise she was hungover, right? By the time I didn't, and I would be screaming, crying. I'm 10 years old. See my football get cancelled, 10, 11, 12, 13, even 14. See if my game was off at the weekend because of the weather, I'd be greeting.
Aye, really?
I'd be crying. I'd be so upset, man, because I in my head it needed to happen. So Katie can ask me to do something. I physically can't stop what I'm doing. Well, I can obviously, right? But it's very difficult for me mentally to stop what I'm doing to give her a hand until I'm finished what I'm doing.
No, I get it, aye.
So like for me, and during the workout, like if I've just got my head, I'm going to do something, it needs to happen. So like that 100, even though it was really painful and not enjoyable, like it just had to happen because I said in my head it was going to get done, and if it didn't, it would had a bad impact on the rest of my day.
I love that. Strange. I think one thing you spoke about as well is on your social media about try to find that balance in life, but also try to find how good you can be in each area.
Yeah.
So what's the kind of advice you would give to people that are in a similar position to you, that do have a job, that do have kids, that do have a dog, their life seems manic, and they just have no control over it and they're just surviving, whereas you're clearly thriving from what you're saying. What kind of advice would you give to these people that are struggling with all these different hats and all this different stuff going on?
Well, I think I'm no different from from your normal person. So, like I said, job, busy home life. I'm just a normal guy. Then now my fitness has got to a level that I'm very proud of, but I know it's still a good bit away from where I want to be. So 2 years ago, I'd only just done my first Hyrox event. 2 years ago, my 10K would have been in the 40 minutes. Like, my 5K would have been about 20 minutes. Like, all good enough times for most people, but for somebody in my line of work, probably could have been better. Right? And I'm just normal. Like, I'm not being particularly gifted at running. I'm not particularly gifted with strength. Like, I've not got a great physique. I'm not, like, I'm built for playing basketball probably. I'm not far off. Like, I don't, like, on paper, shouldn't be good at anything, really. But now, like,
You're
I'm
shooting yourself
but
down.
now
I
I'm
get you,
guessing
but-
what I'm getting to is, like, but I've just worked hard for 2 years, but really worked hard for 12 months. And I've got myself to a position where I'm fairly confident, and well, I'm confident in how I think, act and feel, just because I've, like, put in the work, and I'm now starting to see some reward for it. So I've managed to get, like Kieran's touched on it there, that last race, I've 3 races in 24 hours and podiumed in all 3 of them. Get beat in the open doubles in the morning and then the pro doubles at night by 2 world champions. The guy that beat us in the morning was world doubles champion last year for under 29s. The guy that beat us in the evening was world doubles champion for 40 to 49s, I think, or 30 to 39s. So beat by 2 world champions and then podiumed again on the Sunday. Like, that wasn't possible a year ago. But, like, or even 2 years ago, but I'm showcasing a journey here of, like, there's a 24-month journey. Like, my first Hyrox doubles with Jerry, we were, like, 19th overall or something. And now we're going in and, like, turning up, hoping to place and coming out second. So, like,
man.
we were no different to anyone listening to this podcast. So you could be 2 years away from, like, excelling in your fitness. So we're no different. For me, getting back to the actual point, the advice would be to try and take a bit of control first and organise. So I don't use it as much anymore, but I used to use Google Calendar straight away when I was trying to just get a hold of things. So putting everything in from when I was going to try and eat my breakfast to when I was going to the toilet nearly everything went in that. And that helped me at first. Like, can I just get in a hold on where I was at? Then it's just trying to find pockets of time that you can get things done, communicating with your partner if you've got somebody at home with you, like, why this is important to you and how you think it's going to actually improve the home life, because I'm essentially a much happier guy when I get my training done and I've got a lot more to give to everyone in the house when I'm feeling fulfilled. So maybe having that conversation with your partner about why it's important and how they can maybe help you, and maybe you might inspire them to go through the same sort of process and journey. And I think that's really important. Whereas now, my organisation is, it's not terrible, but I'm living, like, on a week-to-week basis because I've got so much on. Like, Kieran was messaging me about this all week, and I said, aye, mate, don't stress, aye. Like, I'll deal with it.
See, when you get that, don't stress, I'm at.
Like, I'm just, my mates are, like, trying to make plans. I'm like, mate, I'm not being, I just can't even think that far ahead. Yeah,
No,
it's pure filling me with
understand you,
anxiety,
aye.
man.
No,
Like,
I get you, man.
I
I
can't
get
catch
you.
up on my phone. So, like I'll jump on the laptop on a Sunday night. Jump on the laptop on a Saturday night. Now weekends are just another day. I don't like lose days because I'm so rough. And so I'll sometimes say to Kate, listen, I jump on the laptop for half an hour. Could be a Saturday afternoon or Saturday night. Like, cool, what it is what it is. Whereas before, like, that just wouldn't have been, I'd have lost those days. But where am I? How did I get to that?
Because
But
you're
the question-
talking
Chatty,
about
like, how-
just, like,
I
taking
am so
control.
overwhelmed. So then,
Aye.
like, I'm looking at my phone. It'll be a funny clip. Like, I'm looking at my phone and I just can't catch up with messages. And then I sometimes open things and don't reply to them just because I'm so overwhelmed. Like, so I'm not, like, want to be on here. Like, I'm probably big boss, so back on the couch, relaxed. Like, I've got it all figured out. Like, I've really not. And a lot of my days are spent feeling anxious, overwhelmed, stressed, maybe a wee bit insecure, like, worried. Like, because I'm just can't catch up with things. I feel like I can't get on top of things, but from outside in, it looks like, you just said there, like, can you give us people some advice?
Aye.
Like, no.
Aye, but it's
But
like,
No, I
it's-
think that advice was amazing, but I think it's so relatable, like you're saying as well. You still feel stressed, you still feel anxious.
I just don't think that's going to disappear.
No, you're right, man.
I'll have
Ever?
that at least every week, man, at least twice. I'll have like a couple of days where I'm just like, fuck.
Well, I've
looking at things.
I've been really nervous about this podcast because this is something that's out my comfort zone. Like, it's easy when it's me and you chatting shit on the laptop.
Now we've just got Chris chatting shit.
And when we always do it
right.
at the same time, so then it's like we're doing this on a different day where normally I've got different stuff. I have to move about.
Yeah.
I need to drive for an hour. I need to change everything. I'm talking to someone I've never met before, and it's like and I said to Gemma, I'm nervous, and she's like, good.
Aye.
Because you're doing something that's out your comfort zone, and you're doing something that's different. And like you're saying there, I think it is just about, you're always going to be a wee bit stressed, a wee bit anxious. And I think if you don't ever get the feelings in a week, and this is something I need to keep reminding myself, then you're probably just playing it far too easy.
You're maybe not doing enough.
Are you really living? I know that sounds like
I
you're
know.
bold, but it's like we're all going through life for the first time, right? So see if you've not got anything across your week that's making you a bit stressed out, a bit anxious, as you said, mate, you probably are
Too
playing it a
easy.
wee bit too safe. Do you know what I mean? Because you're meant to go through, in my opinion, you're meant to go through a whole host of emotions in a week. It's not meant to, unless you're fucking chilling out in Spain somewhere, man, with fucking pints or whatever, right? But see if you are going about your day-to-day life and you're just coasting, you're going to get to a point in life, in my opinion, where you just go, what have I actually done? Do you know what I mean? Like, see, when I look at like some days and it's like 14-hour days, man, I've trained for like 2-3 hours. I've been behind the laptop for like 8 hours, man. I'm chasing my tail, maybe coming on a podcast, whatever it may be. I'll sit down and go, I'm fucked. But then I'll look at my life from like 5 years ago and I'll go,
So much
wow.
better.
Like, look at everything we've done, man. It was like even sitting doing this podcast today, like meeting obviously different people, connecting with different people in the fitness space, even just general people. And like, I was saying this to, inside my business mentorship, I was saying this to the guys, like, I'll just bounce about and not one week looks the same. As I used to get told, like, when I was taking a holiday. Like, see, when I worked in the printers, mate, they went like that to me. It's like, your holidays are like the first 2 weeks in July. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about, mate? It costs like $3,000 to get to Salou in July. Never mind going on a normal holiday. And now, like, that's what I was even saying to them. I was like, me and George will just, like, we've not been away for a wee bit. Like, we're going away next week.
Yeah,
and just doing, and it's because you've, in my opinion, you're putting yourself in that spot of discomfort regularly so you can create your own life. Like, for me, I very much value travel a lot. Like, if I'm travelling quite often, I know I'm going to be happier. But like for you, it'd be like family time and that stuff. I know you obviously value travelling and that stuff as well. So you'll put the work in to create a life where that can be the priority. Do you know what I mean? And even what you were saying there about obviously your training, you need to get it done so you can go back up road and spend quality time with the family. We've got a client who I had the same conversation with, and obviously his partner now works evenings, the wee man started football and all that kind of stuff. So he was kind of getting put all over the place, and he's like, I feel like I'm just doing everything but not really getting anything done. And I'm like, what's changed? And he's like, I'm actually just not spending time with my family, like with all of us just in one room. And I'm like, well, make that a fucking priority.
It needs to happen.
Do you know what I mean? Create a life where that becomes a priority. And you just flick the switch. And now he's been fucking, I love the guy, man. He's been so consistent ever since, man. You'll know who I'm talking about and that stuff, man. But it's like, if you can find that wee thing that really you value the most, family, travel, whatever it may be, and that kind of stuff, man, put a big emphasis on making that happen. Doesn't matter what stress you go through or what discomfort you go through, you'll make it happen. You'll create a life that you want to live around about that. Do you know what I mean? And that's why, see, when your alarm goes off at 4 o'clock, you might grudge it. But when you finish at 9,
By the way, disclaimer: I've only ever done that once to impress him.
I know. I was sitting.
No, I done that a good few weeks. Me and Jerry done it like a couple of just actual like Hyrox session at that time in the morning. So I was like, mate, I can't do anything else. I think this time the wee man must have been tiny. Kate was still working full time, so she was working 2 weeks after he was born, back working from home again. So like. And then I obviously we have like next to no childcare, so I'm sure at that time that's why I'd done it a good few times.
Because you text me and I was like, I will do it at 4:30. I was like, I'm normally get it done earlier, thinking you were talking about
In the afternoon.
and you're like, no, it's AM, mate. And I'm like,
Oh no.
I've asked him, I can't say no. I was
Let's
like,
go.
and we were running up the expressway in what'd you call it, Queensway. And I think I was on, mate, I remember it, man, because it was me and Hammy, and I was on like I think this must have been the 20th 10k in a row or something like that kind of thing, right? So like the legs were feeling good. And yous were just cranking up this hill, man, at like fucking 430 kilometres. I was like, oh, boys, it's fucking 4:45 in the morning, guys.
I'm probably shouting and all that.
Mate, it was a good laugh, man. I enjoyed it. But I was like, aye, Chris, I'll get you when this is done, mate. Do you know what I mean, man? But even discuss that, mate. Like, see, I know we've talked about your training and stuff, man, but see, going in maybe a wee bit more around about family, like, has that been a massive driving factor for everything that you've fundamentally done over the past couple of years? Because even me just knowing you as a mate, I've noticed a big shift in you with just intent recently. And I feel, obviously, your family's got a big, massive part to play in that. Are they always in your head when you're going through like a wee bit of shit during training, a wee bit of stress during work and that kind of stuff?
I probably, like, well, through work, obviously, like, main role of me, like, now going to work is like to putting a roof over your head, putting food on the table, whatever the analogy might be. So obviously as a big driver, I make sure like I get the calls done or run through some kind of processes that I need to run through, or maybe do a review with some client check-ins, or try and push out some extra content for marketing. So that's always a good driving force for that, because it's essential. Training-wise, I don't know. I don't know why I'm so driven now. Like, it's not even the success of like going to these events. Do you know what? I actually heard something. And it's like, I don't know the exact terminology, right? But it's like every man wants to be not desired. That sounds a bit sexual, doesn't it? Like wants to be like congratulated and like put on a pedestal almost. Like as a man, you want to feel like worthy.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that kind of purpose, like that's what I'm now finding. Like you want people to say well done to you. You want people to congratulate you on things. Like I said about football, the boys who were the best at football became the most popular because they were the best, and everyone wanted a piece of them. And that's not what I want from this, but I do, for the first time in any sort of kind of sporting aspect or fitness aspect, I'm seeing some level of success. That terminology, success, the word there is like scalable. Everyone's term of success within the sport or fitness is going to be different. So for me, I'm seeing some success, and I think like that's given me it's a nice feeling that people are willing to talk to me about it and ask me about it, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, man, like I'm working really hard now, and like I'm getting something for it. So I think as a guy, it's something we all probably
100%.
desire is to like to have that. I'm going to find you it and send you it, but it's like something that makes every man feel like fucking powerful. I don't know.
And I think like I can agree with that, because some of the things I've done, you're just like my mates who asked me, it's like, why the fuck did you do that?
Like when you've done that challenge, how good did it feel when so many folk are messaging you, well done and all that? You must have felt like an absolute champion.
I had a pure moment that was like, you messaged me, man. And mate, I was going through the war. I don't even know where the fuck I was. I was somewhere in the Highlands, just by myself. And like, I just got signal, and then all these messages came through, because it was quite good, man. Like you were, the amount of like, so many people that didn't even know were messaging me. But fucking good on you. You were just, as I was saying before, the one's going, the A9's dangerous. I fucking know, mate. Do you know what I mean? And then you messages going like, you're like, mate, I know obviously you'll be going through the wars and that stuff, man, but just keep going. Everyone in Facebook Bride's pure rooting you. And it's like wee things like that you're just like, right, let's fucking do this. And like, you do a lot of things that you do for like, that wee feeling you get when somebody goes well done.
And you know as well, like,
do you know what I mean?
some folk would just love to see you crumble, wouldn't they?
Oh,
so
mate,
that's an extra wee bit of dark
Yeah.
motivation for me as well. Like you're going to let them be right.
I mean, dark energy will
And
get
even
you through.
me, like at some point there's a voice in my head that probably tells me that I'm going to fail at some point, and I'm like, nah, like shut that up and like prove it can be successful. And I suppose I've just never had any sort of success in any sport or fitness, and then I've never done anything particularly good. Like I've tried to like do some bodybuilding splits and do some bro splits from 16 to 20. That never really worked out, and I never attained much of physique. Like I tried to really focus on my strength training. I got quite strong, but never really got to any sort of degree that I was proud of. Started running, and now all this. So I suppose it's just to give me something to be proud of as well, and teach me that if you work hard, you will be rewarded.
100%.
And then that's something I can teach a wee man. Like I put this on my Instagram the other day. There is nobody's gifted in that sport of Hyrox. Yeah, you might get somebody who's naturally maybe a bit of a better runner, or naturally a bit fitter or a bit stronger, right? But everyone that does it must work hard. Like anyone who's successful in it, again, the word successful is scalable. Everyone's success is different, but anyone who's doing well is just worked hard. I've not done anything in the last 12 months that anyone else can't do. My training volume isn't particularly high. I said to you earlier, like I think I had my best week of training, maybe my biggest running week ever last week, and it was only like 13 to 14 hours of training. And I'm following some boys from down south, just a wee bit younger than me, that are hitting 23 hours. And I know that, well, it might be necessary, but like I could not have done any more last week. And then I'm like, oh my God, this guy's doing 23 hours. So I'm not saying anyone listening needs to be doing 13, 14 hours, but like maybe you're doing between 4 and 6, but the 46 hours you're doing, like, are you working hard? And I know that now that I'm working hard and I've seen a reward for it, and that's teaching me, like, do you know what? When the wee man's older, or it shows the members, like the members in the gym can see it. They're seeing how hard I'm working. They'll be the first ones that tell me. Like, it's not a gym full of like aspiring athletes. We're just like a gym full of parents, teachers, nurses, everything in there. Cleaners, you've got every walk of life. People who are on a weight loss journey and using it for that. People who are trying to find a new purpose and everything in between. And they can see that, like, I've seen him in there training, I've seen him in there finishing, he's training, he's working as hard as he can, and he goes and gets rewarded for it. And that's why I like share the success with them and put a post up on Instagram that I wanted to share with the gym's page, because it's, for me, it was shared success. Like, it's me representing the gym, but as much represent myself and representing that hard work would get us a reward. So they look and go, whatever it is they want to achieve, like, fair enough, if I just put the work in and stick by it long enough, I'll get the reward. That's what it's about. It's not about like being on a pedestal because you've got a podium spot. It's about showing that hard work will be rewarded always. So nobody in the sport's gifted or lucky. Like, the hardest worker wins.
That's it, mate, and that's what I've noticed as well, man. Like, so obviously I was speaking to you about this. I was saying that to you as well with Toulouse. It just didn't go to plan for us. And there's one thing that I've noticed with Hyrox, right, and it does just kind of annoy me a wee bit. Not everyone does this, but people will fall short on their goal and they'll just start listing off these excuses to why it never happened. And I'm like, bottom line is, mate, like, if you peel apart the prep, you've probably just not done something.
I don't even think that's just Hyrox. I just think that's everyone the last couple of years. You're not allowed to fail. There's always
needs to be a but.
There needs to be a but and an excuse, and it's like,
always it's an
she's
internal
never done
factor.
enough. I'm like,
There'll be something that wasn't right. Like, for me, I looked at it. We were 2 minutes slower than what we were in Poznan. I was raging about it. I was like, fucking hell, you can even see it in the picture I put up, man, across the line, man. I just looked like a pure angry child. Josh is like, yes. I'm like, nah, I'm fucking raging, man.
no, I get it.
But when I looked at it, I was like, the race went perfect. There was no niggles. There was nothing. Like, the day and the build up to the race, nutrition was good. I felt good, but I just wasn't fast enough. And when I break it apart, I'm like, my nutrition on the prep, like on the actual build up to it, like the months leading up to it, for Poznan over Christmas when I was on holiday and that shit, wasn't good enough. I was drinking a wee bit more while I was on holiday. And then my recovery, it just wasn't where it had to be. Do you know what I mean? And that was probably why we were slower. There was no, the track was busy, it was a different rock zone, fucking, my knee felt a bit dodgy and that kind of stuff. I just wasn't good enough. And I think, see, when you take ownership with that, like, I was raging, I felt a lot of pressure. Everyone's like, you're going to get it sub 60, it's going to be easy because we're 9 seconds away from it. The last time when I was like, all right, sound, me and Josh were like, we're about 58. Do you know what I mean? We'll be pushing here. Humbled. And I think when you get humbled, especially in the spot of Hyrox, right, this is where people will actually either stay the same or they'll catapult across the next 6 to 12 months. See, if you take ownership and when you've fucked up, you will go further. So like, right now, I've took complete ownership. In the past couple of weeks, man, I felt fucking class for it.
You've had a good few weeks too.
I've noticed everything's went up again.
I've done that in Paris. So we like raced the first solos, and the plan there was like, I want to get a good time, want to get as close to there as I can. Don't know where I'll place, but like, that was the plan going in. And I come in at 1:03 and there's a video of me crossing the finish line and Mark scored it in slow-mo and I'm like, I'm sure that is not it, man. I'm better than that. And then across the finish line, I'm like, it was getting videoed for YouTube and I'm just like, it's fine, we go again. And Saturday I've got a ticket for Dublin, I'm racing again in 6 days. And went to Dublin and raced in podium there, and that was my first like podium, and I came third in a solos. To podium in a solos is hard graft. The podium anywhere in Hyrox is hard graft. Like, if you're up there, you've earned it. So it was just like, I knew what I'd done wrong. I didn't have to go in and list it all, but I knew what I'd done wrong. I knew where I'd went wrong in management of the race, and I knew how I could put that right. So it's just like, that's it, done. Like, we'll see you again in 6 days, and that's what it needs to be like. Hey, you probably address it and then just like, cool, let's go and do the next thing.
See as well, man, like, I feel like Hyrox brings out a lot of like main character syndrome in people, where it's like people would tell them like, I didn't get this time because of that, and I'm like, that's in the bottom line, mate. Nobody really cares. Like, and not to be a bastard, right? People obviously are looking at what you're doing sound, but see the next day, everyone's like, ah,
it's not that deep, is it?
Nah, it's not that deep, man.
What both of you said something between you there that I thought was really class. Like, you said about being proud of yourself, and you said about taking ownership. And I think if you can merge them two together, man, you're going to go far anywhere. But if you're never proud of yourself, it doesn't really matter how well you're doing.
Right.
In my point of view, like, you can be smashing it, but if you're not, and this is something I've noticed with myself recently, well, fucking my full life, I've never gave myself enough credit. And what you're saying there is just like being proud of yourself. And I think that's something everyone could do more. 100%. And something you said as well about like, comparison isn't just the thief of joy, it's the thief of your success. I really like that. Could you go a bit more into that?
Well, like, so I suppose obviously, like, you can constantly comparing yourself to others. Obviously, you're not. I think as a human, in human nature, we're never really happy that way. We always, even though I'm proud of what I've done, I'm still looking towards the rest of the races I want to do and what else I want to achieve. Even like running races and stuff, I've got plan for later in the year. Like, I've still got other things I want to achieve. I'm like, oh, it's good and stuff, and I'm proud, but what's next? It's like anything, like, you're never really content, which I suppose is a good thing and a bad thing. But then you're comparing to others, like you're saying there, like, obviously it's going to be a thief of joy, like, if I'll go and do something and then look at the next guy who's done just 10 seconds quicker, I'm like, oh, God's sake, man, like, but I'm not him. But it's also like I said, it could be the thief of my success. I compared myself to this boy I followed on Instagram. He'd done a 23-hour training week and I hit 14 hours and I was buzzing off that and then seen his. If I let that determine, go, well, I'm just not going to be able to do enough. I can't do 23 hours. Like, sack it. And what a wasted opportunity that would be. Like, I'd just sack off the rest of the year and just let that diminish what I'm doing. So for them to listen, maybe you can't do what others are doing, but you can make very good, like, progress with what you have, and it actually might get you further ahead than other people. We don't know. Like, some people might be doing double the training you do, but wasting it or be doing too much. So, like, if we didn't have social media, we wouldn't even know.
Oh, man,
so just like do everything that you can do that you think's going to bring you more success or progress you, whether you're working with a coach or without. Like, do whatever you can do, and I can guarantee if you just work hard enough for long enough, you would get a result and you would see an improvement. So I think if I let that, if I dwindled on that, I'd kind of deterred me from the world's against me syndrome in it. Like, I think some people can make up these stories and scenarios in their head about, not even about themselves, about others and how others have got other things that they've not and how others have had it differently, and sit and tell themselves a wee story and get all upset about it and like the world's against you. It's not, mate. It's just like, get out there, do what you can with what you've got and give it enough time, and I can guarantee you'd see a result. Nobody in that sport is more gifted than anyone else. Like, put in the work.
Like, everyone does have this kind of thing, like the world's against them, but like, we've all got shit. Do you know what I mean? We've all got
me all the
different.
time, mate. I'm just a big
But I like
huffy bastard in the house,
a wee
mate.
moments and you go, right, because even me, I'll say it, like, I'll have wee moments with Jordan, she'll go, you done? Then I'm like, that's it.
I know,
Just move
but
on, do you know
I
what
think we all probably do have that, but I think others let it weigh down on them more so than some others might do. So I like, the world's not against us. Like, life is just sometimes going to be a bit difficult, but
life is hard, isn't it, man?
100%,
Like, it's
man.
difficult. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on, especially when your life's hard when you're trying to make progress in any area. Never mind trying to make progress in all of them, man.
Multiple.
Aye.
Do you know what I mean? That being said, but as well, I know we've kind of talked about Hyrox a lot, man, but one thing I do want to like speak about, and cause you and your gym are very involved in it, man, how would you say Hyrox itself has benefited the fitness community in Scotland? Because there's a lot of gyms that really bounce off each other.
it's so good. I always wondered, like, is it going to benefit our gym that much? Like, but it has, because so many of the members, like, who are doing it probably wouldn't have thought they would have been doing it a year ago, 2 years ago. So it brings your everyday person like me, a parent with a full-time job and other stuff going on. It gives you the opportunity, something to train for and something to then go and test it against. So it gives everyone the opportunity to go and do that. So it's like, I think it's definitely developed the gyms and give us more purpose. And our gym, lucky enough, we're just kind of set up for it. Like, not by luck, obviously. I designed the gym the way it was for a reason. But it's just fell perfectly into place that we can facilitate that sort of group training now. And then all the communities do bounce off each other. Like, when you go abroad to these events, you've got boys like, so Jordan came, was racing at the weekend there. And Jordan's Fisk Bride, and he was racing with a boy, Scott Highlands, for Glasgow. So, like, two guys that didn't know each other, like, until bouncing off each other through Instagram, probably trained a couple of times, and I thought, boom, let's go and do an event together. You're going there, I'm going there, what, do our doubles together?
Fucking won it.
Like, boom, then they won.
Did they?
Like, aye, so...
Jordan's first flat, I was buzzing from mate. He
Aye,
was so happy, wasn't he?
I phoned him a
Aye,
day,
he was
so...
buzzing me.
Where was that?
Poland.
What's it called?
Poland,
Katowice or something.
Ah, right, aye.
I thought it was like, I don't know what I thought that was. So I think it has benefited most communities. Like, myself and Jerry have now became like brothers through that sport. Like, kind of met each other maybe about 2.5 years ago. I ran a session at the gym, just invited loads of coaches down. We just all got after it, like, get taps off, and everyone was just training hard. And I think he always said this in a podcast, like, well, she was shouting at one end, I was shouting at the other end, and we're just clicking, like, just two guys, no wired upright, but just loved the pain of training. not to sound like a hard man or anything, but I just like being like, I love a hard training session. And then stayed in contact over that, booked a race. And then before you know it, when I've now got somebody that I speak to every day, he speaks to me every day, can share your problems with, share your successes with. Somebody I want to see win, and everything he does, he wants to see me win, and everything he does, like, speak so highly of each other, and just want each other to be successful. And then we are both getting coached for Graham, who is one of the owners at Elation. Graham introduces to the coaches in there. I go and do a doubles race with Matt, who's one of the owners. Now I'm really close with Matt, speak to him most days. Like, all these gyms just start bouncing off each other and want to see each other's success. So I think it probably has been a good thing to bring gym communities together, because at the end of the day there is so many, and the more bitter you are about like folk leaving your gym to go to another gym, or like that gym doing this or that gym doing that, and we don't want them to do well and they think they're just good at this or whatever it is, like that kind of negativity just oozes out and doesn't breed well. But all the members in our gym are like happy to see other gyms doing well and congratulate them. And it's so good. I think it has been beneficial. So hopefully when you get to Glasgow, it's not loads of young teams rocking up in their own gym hoodies.
I know about the old days, man.
Everyone will just wear the matching hoodies. Not maybe we should all just maybe we should set like colours.
Like the
so
Warriors.
each gym has a colour, so you know that's in our gym.
Definitely, man.
But nah, I think it'll be good and that'll be nice in Glasgow to see, because like no doubt, hopefully I'm running around the track and I'll hear a shout from people that are at other gyms, and I know I'll be giving folk a shout that I know at other gyms that I know who they are, and that's the way it should be. Why can't we all just why can't we all have a good time?
I've been reading a book called The Courage to Be Disliked, and one of the things it says, we were talking about this, says, imagine a world where we all looked at each other as community instead of enemies, and that's really stuck with me. And it's like, look at everyone you walk past, they're not your enemy, like, we're all fucking in this mad life together.
One big tribe.
One big tribe, exactly, man. And I think if you can think like that and also get more people to think like that, the world is going to become a better place. And like you said, this is communities coming together that in a world could look at each other as enemies, but and that positivity breeds each other to be better. Because if they're both negative, you're going to be worse off being oh fuck that gym and all that kind of stuff.
So like, I know Thursday night I'm doing my first pro race, so on a Thursday night, and I know of like 6-7 other guys round about Glasgow that are doing it. They're all a really good standard, and it's that way, like, they're not going to be in that way. That waiting pen, man, it's so good, isn't it?
It's a pure buzz, mate. It's horrible, but
it's just so good.
It's a buzz, mate.
Even if you're not in it, just go.
No, I'm going.
Get a ticket and just go in the waiting pen, and then when they let you go, you could just walk off. You just need to go and get that buzz to the waiting pen. It's so good.
I'm doing Glasgow on Thursday.
You just get mixed doubles.
I've done the
buzz off it.
First session yesterday, like 80%
run through of it.
Aye, so it was good, man. I've not really felt a buzz for it until yesterday, and now I'm starting to understand it. But I have heard.
No, you're not going to understand until you're in this pen how
good
you'll feel, mate. It's so good.
The way to describe it. So the pen's one thing, right? But I always remember this for Birmingham, when I walked into Birmingham, like about, I think it was 2.5 years ago or something. And like, I walked in and you could just hear the tunes blasting. It was like in a big massive, like basically SECC down in Birmingham, so it was like, you can imagine the size of it. And like, I just walked in, you could just hear the tunes and that blasting. And like, as you were getting closer, I was like, this reminds me of going to raves. Like, is it that kind of feeling? You're like a bit nervous, mate, and then you walk in and there's just boys and lassies not just sending it. And you're like, right, man, this is what it's all about. And then you get into that pain.
It's like the same music they play every time and all. So
is it right?
So it's like the same, like, list through our tunes. I'll have them on in the gym, and if I'm doing a big session that's getting close to an event, I don't care how sad that is.
Funny, man, talking about the pain, but like, see, obviously I'm like only 5'5", man, so it's hilarious, man. I don't know what it is. I always don't know if it's my ego, but I make sure I'm at the front. And like, I'm just hustling through that because often there's these guys that are like 6'3".
Need to get to the front
always. But it's that way, they just kind of look at you. And don't even, I'm a decent runner. Do you know what I mean? So the first K, I'm out.
Sending it.
And you can just see them like, the fuck's going on, man? And then you get to the sleds and then they go past me, right? But that's another fucking conversation. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, you bastards, man.
The waiting pen's so good. But on that Thursday, there's all these boys for different communities, handful of gym owners in there. And I know for a fact, we're not going to get around that course and like, you're not going to overtake someone like, see ya. You're just going to be like, come on, mate, fucking keep up, let's go, hurry up. Like,
I love that.
Like, or you're not going to be pushing the slide and taking a breather, and somebody's going to be like, I'm away, mate. Like, it'll be like helping each other through. And I've spoke to a few boys that we know are racing, and we're all buzzing for that. Like, we know it's going to be it's a hard race doing a pro now. So it'll be a pure buzz. So I don't think there is that aggro between Scottish communities. And I don't think there is between Scottish and English. Like we were chatting about a few English boys when we were in Switzerland and that do really well and whatever else. So like I don't really think there is, because when you finish that event, your adrenaline's high and dolphins are losing out. You feel good. You want to be happy. So I don't think there is, and if there is, then hopefully there's not, because it's just good fun.
And at the end, man, everyone, like, even we were in France and Poland and all that kind of stuff, man, nobody can understand each other, but you're all like that, fucking well done.
Nobody can understand you anyway.
We know that, right? That's another conversation, man. I'm like that. Do you ever do that in Orbit when you go on holiday and like you put on
the wee accent?
You put on more of a Scottish accent, and I'm like, I've caught myself
Nah,
doing it.
you,
You're like that.
do you not do a wee French one? No?
Nah, can I fuck, mate? I would try it, mate, but
Go geezer.
I'm a fuck. I was just like, viva la what? Guns like that. No, man. See, to be fair, but Josh O'Neill, I'll give him it, man. He was actually
French,
it was so
doesn't
funny.
he?
Well, he says he speaks French, right? He can speak French. As soon as they speak back to him, he's like, fuck did he say to me?
What?
I'm like, this is just a complete thing. But that's it, the French do like it. See, because he was trying to
making a wee effort.
and I'm like, flat white, mate. And they just look at you, man, do you know what I mean? But no, I agree with you, like, 'cause I've noticed that the community in Scotland as a whole is just getting a lot closer and that stuff, especially about fitness, like the people I've met for it. And that's why I wouldn't understand, man. See if like someone is like being a bit negative around about the community and like going, oh well, they're doing this because of that, and like just kind of having wee digs in that. You're like, what are you doing, man? Like, this is a sport for everyday people. Let it be for everyday people. Do you know what I mean? That's that, and leave it at that.
So I think it's only a good thing for the gyms independently to help grow their business, and for the communities to connect a wee bit as well.
No, definitely, and I think I'm doing it with Gemma, so doing it with your partner has its own challenges, because we were fucking a bit arguing.
You'll be Pete Tong with each other, man, honestly.
But it was good, man. It was good to like. It's good to kind of do these things together, whether you're doing it with your partner, whether you're doing it with a friend. Like, there is so much, like, obviously it's hard, but there is so many positives to it.
Yeah.
Like, brings people together. So I think it's just a positive thing overall, man. And I think for something to bring Scottish people together for once, instead of pushing them away from each other.
Good, because I mean, the Sunday's the Celtic Rangers match, my mate offered me a ticket for it, and I was like, aye, brilliant, mate. And then I'm actually racing the Sunday with one of the coaches federation, so we were racing it together on the Sunday. I'm like, oh, shit, actually, I'm like, I don't even care. Like, so that will just nullify that weekend. Like, a lot of people going there won't even be thinking about the football, which almost segregates a lot of folks. So it pulls a lot of people in Glasgow together.
I'm like, obviously it'll be sound, man, but that'll be, if we don't get the first Celtic Rangers game next season, I'll not be able to see a Celtic Rangers game until the back end of 2026, because obviously we've got to be travelling again. So I'm a bit gutted in that, right, man, but George is racing on Sunday. So I've not got an option, man, and hopefully we get.
You just get yourself down there.
Exactly, I was just not even saying it. I said to George, like, Celtic Rangers games on a Sunday. She's like, ah, right.
And what?
I know, he's in the play. I was like, ah, fuck it, man. Hopefully we get a doubles ticket. If anyone can get me a doubles ticket.
Have you not managed to get one yet?
We've not managed to get one, man. There was potential getting one, but it just didn't work out, man.
Aye.
And that's it, man. But hopefully we get one, because
people selling them at the front like they do at gigs and that.
oh, mate, I know that, mate. It will happen, mate. Punters will just be standing there, man, screaming hats and scarves and that.
$2 grand.
Well, mate, it'll go up, man. It'll go up, man. But nah, mate, I think we've covered a lot in that, man. But just to kind of like round it up and that kind of stuff, mate. What would you give advice someone who's maybe feeling a wee bit lost right now, a wee bit stressed out, struggling? They don't really feel as if they've got that sense of purpose, and they're not really doing too much, but they want to turn that around. They want to give themselves a wee bit up the arse. What would you say is the first protocol?
Put your shoes on, go run.
I like that.
I like that.
Put your shoes on.
And just
You
run.
don't need a stopwatch. Like, I remember when I first started running, when I was, and my granddad used to have a route for his amateur football team, and it must have been just short of 5k, I think, but it was a hard run. You had to go up Canberra Hill and then up the Privic, and then back down the Murray Mile, and like there was no phones. It used to just stopwatches from when you left the pavilion, but like where you get changed, and then stopwatch and come back in. You knew what sort of time you had to run in. You had no idea how long you'd been running for. There was no smartwatches on. There was nothing. Like, there wasn't mobile phones, obviously, but nobody was carrying a phone running. That wasn't a thing. And like, even the first couple of times I was doing it, like trying to keep up with these like teenagers or young men, like I was only like 13 and 14, like I was starting and stopping. Couldn't run, but obviously I started to feel so good, and I started to get slightly better at it, and I started being able to jog for the full duration. Like, if you're feeling a bit lost, like you're not got that purpose, like put your shoes on. You want to run, go and run. Like, nobody can come and do it for you. You don't need to get to the level of the standard that you might be following. Some people see if some people are doing miraculous things that's deterring you because you just don't think it's possible for you yet, just unfollow them. Listen, nobody would take offence. So like, I've unfollowed people who are just triggering me a wee bit because I know like that's just making me frustrated now. Like I'm just not there yet. Like unfollow, no offence. So create a community that, not just within maybe like your coaching group or whatever that you've got, but like within your Instagram that you follow that like inspires you. So anyone that's not doing that for you is deterring you, because that's often when you are a bit insecure, like other people can make you feel uncomfortable with their success. Just remove them. Go that run. Go to the gym. Go and do the steps. Go and try and cook a healthy meal for the first time. Like we all know that exercising, fresh air, and eating better is going to be one of the first things you could do to better mental health. And obviously we've got therapy and there's prescription drugs and loads of other things out there that can also help and will also help. But like if you are not exercising, moving, and eating well, I don't think you're giving yourself a fighting chance. And that's easy for me to sit on this side of my life now and say that because I'm a bit more fulfilled and happier within myself. But like, I'm not making it up.
You done it.
Like, give yourself a chance. Like, eat well, get walking and get training. Do that for a couple of weeks and ask yourself if you're feeling better. And I can guarantee the answer will be yes, but I know how hard it is to make that change and for something to switch. But like, if you don't do it now, when are you going to do it? And you know that's what you need to do to get started. So if you are in that point where feeling like you're in no man's land and something needs to give, well, make this end of this podcast the time it gives. Hit stop right now. Get your shoes on. Go a walk. Phone your pal and tell him it's time to make a change. And get some fucking David Goggins on. Whatever it is you need to listen to.
Who's going to get the bolts?
Anything. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
Anything.
Yeah.
And just go and make that change, because you know those three things are going to give you a bit of a better chance of feeling better in yourself, more purpose, happier, and more fulfilled. And it's not the secret. There's still days where probably the three of us are down in the dumps, sad, symptoms of depression or whatever it is, and days that you just don't feel yourself. It's not a secret to like a happy life, but it's definitely a secret to a better one. So go and get it.
Love that,
Quality,
mate.
man. I love
Love
that.
that. I
Aye.
think we'll finish up there, right, Doa?
On you go. You do
There you
the
go, man.
deed.
So thank you, everyone that was tuning in, man. Before we finish up, Kris, do you want to share your Instagram and the
Mate, I just want
page?
to apologise first. That first 10 minutes, firstly, I just rambled on. I missed the question on a mad intro. Then I was welling up talking about my boy, because I just imagined him when I came home. He's just started saying daddy. So like, I got up the other night to close the window in our room and he was in beside us, and he seen me when I got up and he was like, daddy, daddy, daddy.
Oh, that's class,
So
man.
apologies for that.
Don't apologise,
And then thanks for listening in. If you don't follow me on Instagram, it's Kris McSherry _FFT. Functional fitness training is what that's for, and it's Kris with a K, KRIS, and our business accounts are functional fitness training and soul sweets. And if there's anything we could ever do to help your health and fitness or your mental health, it doesn't need to cost you anything. If it's just a conversation you want or a bit of advice and maybe how to develop an aspect of your fitness or your headspace or your business or anything, then I'm always willing to help, and I'll get hopefully I'd get back to you quick, and I'll get back to some of the messages in my phone.
Oh, no, mate. I get it, man.
But yeah, thank you for having me on. It was good fun, actually.
No, belter, man. Thank you for obviously coming on,
Aye,
mate.
thank
We
you,
know
mate. Cheers, man.
You're a busy guy, mate. So, no, I appreciate it, man. But if you are listening, do us a favour. Please share this to your Instagram stories. Tag us in it. Share it with your friends, family, your gran, your dog, whoever it may be, man, and make as much noise as possible, man. Obviously, give Kris a shout out, everything else. But as always, guys, thank you very much for tuning in, and we will be back next week.